guys, it's HoppingHammy and welcome to my Holland themed cage tour. Before we go any farther into the video, I wanted to first give full credit to my friend Elsja154 on Instagram for being the person who inspired me to go with this particular theme for Sprocket's first setup. Nearly all of the ideas shown in this theme were largely inspired by her, so I will put a link to her Instagram account in the description below so you can all check out the Holland theme that she made for her dwarf hamster and give her a follow if you can. Now, I did ask Elsja's permission to use many of her ideas in this cage setup, and she said it was perfectly okay, so now we will get into the cage tour. Starting in the middle of the cage, there is this large DIY windmill that I made out of cardboard, and I just looked at various windmill photos online and tried to come up with a design that I liked. The main purpose of this, other than matching the theme, is to hide the middle support beam in the cage because I think it looks a little ugly on its own, so I'm always looking for creative ways to hide it. You might remember in my past setups that I had a giant rainforest tree in one theme and a desert palm tree in another. On each side of the windmill, I have a paper tulip chew that I bought a long time ago when they were on clearance. They're so perfect for this theme, I was really happy to dig those out again. Behind the windmill to the right, there's a blue river made of Carefresh colored bedding, and I had some of this bedding left over from past, so I was thrilled to be able to incorporate it into this setup too, because one of my favorite things to do in cage themes is to make little pools of water or rivers like you see here. Behind the river is another item that is important to this theme because my friend Elsja said it's very common in these areas to see hay bales all over the fields. It also makes you feel like you're in the country to see this in the cage theme, so I love that. Behind the hay bale is a tiny field of tulip flowers made out of crepe paper, and I had really envisioned making a huge field of these flowers, but they were extremely time-consuming to make, and I also ran out of room to put decorations in here, which was a bit of a bummer, so I had to resort to this tiny section in the back. But hey, at least they're included, right? Now, in this back right corner of the cage, I have a wooden platform which is accessible by a wood bendy bridge, and it gives Sprocket a second level to go on, which he loves going up there, by the way. In the middle of the platform is this adorable ceramic garden pot, which was a very special gift I kept from a past trade package with Hammy Lux, and some of you may remember her. Sadly, she doesn't make hamster videos on YouTube anymore, and we all miss her so much, but I also understand that life takes us in different directions, and we can't all stay on YouTube for forever, but I do think of her often and was very happy to put this item in Sprocket's theme. On the far right of the platform is another type of hay chew toy, which is wrapped up in a bundle. There's a large one and a small one. I did want to mention you'll see a small section of the wood logs that aren't covered on the top with moss, and I mentioned in my last video that I would do this. I completely got sidetracked, so you will notice it uncovered in many video clips in my next video or two, but I have fixed it now so you don't have to worry about Sprocket's little footsies getting stuck or anything like that. Below this wood platform is a cardboard dig box that I made in my last video, and it's filled with a loose coconut fiber substrate which almost looks and feels similar to soil, and Sprocket has really taken a liking to sitting in this box to dig or wash himself at night, and it's so cute. front corner of the enclosure is a wooden sandbox, and I'm using sterilized children's play sand from Home Depot for this. It's only like $5 for 50 pounds. It's a great deal. And this box is surrounded by wooden bendy bridges which are standing up, and I covered the tops of these with small rocks to make sure to protect if there's any small gaps so his feet wouldn't get caught in them. There's also a cork ramp that he can use to climb out, and I have more of those purple and yellow flowers and oat sprays lining the side wall. You can never have too many of these, right? So the next section we're going to move to is this front part here, and it's a little difficult to see, but I have a large underground tunnel system which was created using 2 large PVC pipes, and I wanted to imitate a hamster's natural home in the wild, so I put a wooden house at one end so Sprocket can feel like he's in an underground tunnel which leads to his burrow. And the best part of all is I have a little window to peek in and see what he's up to. I'll show you footage in future, but it's been incredibly fun to watch Sprocket living in here, sleeping, eating, washing himself, and doing all of the normal activities that a hamster would do before they venture out into the wild to forage and explore at night. On top of the tunnel and wooden house, I have mounted some aspen bedding and sprinkled some timothy hay over the top to look like grassy fields. There are also some mini crepe paper tulips I stuck around like wildflowers, and there are some real flowers as well that have been scattered around. Now across from this underground tunnel system is another similar thing, except I'm using a large half log as the entrance to the burrow, and then I have this wooden cabin for him to sleep in, and I thought this particular house was so cute and perfect for a Holland theme because it has that rustic country look to it. And I will say Sprocket chose this spot to sleep in on his first night or two in this setup, so that made me happy. The final house and underground burrow I wanted to show you guys is way over here in the front left corner of the cage. I have a glass fishbowl which is turned on its side, and there's a wooden tunnel leading out, and Sprocket absolutely loved this house as well because he slept in it for a few weeks until he decided to move and go to a different house. It's been a lot of fun peeking in to view him from the front and learning more about his normal activities. So this back corner is the corner that I chose to put his food, his water, and his running wheel. So this wood platform is something that I made, and I decided to put his food dish up here like I said, and then I tried putting a little dish to put some water in it for him. He refused to use it, and in fact he accidentally stepped in it and seemed a little bit freaked out, so I left it in for like 2 days and he was not using it. He kept going to his water bottle, so I did try with the water dish, but he was not into it. In the back corner, like I said, this is his wheel, and it's a Carolina Storm Express wheel, and this is the biggest wheel that I have at the moment. I'm considering getting him a large Night Angel wheel at some point, but for now this is what I'm using. Around the wheel I have some coarse coconut fiber, and it kind of looks like bark, but it feels much softer when you touch it. And I also put like a slate cooling pad in front of his wheel because a lot of times he gets running and he'll get hot, and I notice that he hops off onto that and kind of stretches out to cool off, so he seems to like having that there. In front of the wheel is this spiral staircase made out of logs, and I had so much fun making this in past before I had bought Cashy. I found these little wood stairs at a bird store, I believe. Each one was separate, so I used Elmer's glue and I glued them together, and I made it as a design that was structurally sound so that it wasn't like top heavy or wouldn't fall over or anything like that. And then on the top there's this large pillow of reptile moss. He's gotten so good at climbing these stairs, he runs up them really fast and goes up to the top, and then he'll jump off. It's kind of cute, but he does seem to enjoy having this as his little lookout tower. So that is all for my Holland cage tour. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. I had so much fun making this theme, filming it, editing the video for you guys, and of course putting Sprocket in the theme and watching him explore it. So that's going to be my next video. I know a lot of people are looking forward to that, so you guys will get to see Sprocket exploring and checking everything out in here. So stay tuned for that one. Thanks so much for watching, and God bless you guys. I'll see you in my next video. Bye!